Hey Troy, I've got some great news for you.
You got some great news for me?
Yeah. Who's There's been renewed for a season 3.
But hang on, I thought we were in season 3.
Oh, wait. Oh, you know what? Just cut this. Just cut this out.
Oh, okay. So when this gets broadcasted, that whole comment won't be there.
Yeah, it won't. Yeah, get rid of it.
But hang on, what about the people watching who want to know about the next season of Who's There? What do we do about them?
Screw them. Well, let's just leave them in the dark for so long.
Oh, crispy. Don't you think our audience deserves to know?
No.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that very same matter with Doctor Who itself. Roll the intro! Hello and welcome back to Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast. My name is Troy, his name is Crispy, and we're the hotline that accepts your calls throughout all of time and space. And I have got my sonic screwdriver ready, because we're talking about the man who wields this sonic screwdriver, and some comments that he made, and some results from that comments that he probably didn't expect, and our fandom, as always, went crazy over them about 2 weeks ago. Finger on the pulse. Crispy, how are you doing today, sir?
I am fantastic. How are you, Troy?
I'm good. I'm tired. I've just had a weekend in Cardiff, sir. We'll talk about this more next week because I think it's probably better for next week's episode. But I might have just met Stephen Moffat.
What? The writer of Joy to the World?
Yeah, the writer of Joy to the World, and he actually gave us an exclusive, a little exclusive tease of Joy to the World. Well, I say exclusive tease. It was a little bit of a sentence about it. So we'll talk about that next week in Who's There. So if you're listening on an audio platform, follow to hear more about it. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe. We're desperate for subs. That's not even a joke. Please do subscribe. Thank you very much. And rate us 5 stars and all that stuff. Leave comments. We'll start reading them eventually. But yeah, so I'm tired, man. It's a Sunday evening. I'm tired, you know. Black Ops 6 is calling me, as is about every other video game releasing at the minute. It's crazy. I've had no time to play games, and they're all releasing. It's mad.
6?
It's mad, sir. Yeah, Black Ops 6. We're at the 6th one. Can you believe that?
Is that Call of Duty?
It is indeed.
You play Call of Duty?
I do. Did you not know that?
Why did I never... Well, I never questioned that.
I haven't played it as much in recent years, but like that Call of Duty is one of the first things I did on YouTube. Back when Advanced Warfare was the main Call of Duty, I did loads of videos on that.
Well, I'll be damned. I had no idea.
You found out something interesting from me. You know?
Can I tell you?
My Advanced Warfare, my Call of Duty content didn't get renewed for a 3rd season.
No.
Instead of Payday 2 took over, you know? Payday 2 was like, oh yeah, we're going to take over. Look where that went. Look where that ended up.
I'm a gamer now, and I need to show you something that I bought on eBay. It's ridiculous. So just riff for like 2 seconds.
Riff for 2 seconds. Oh wow. Well, I mean, if we're riffing and I'm talking about games, then I gotta ask the listeners. You know, leave a comment if you played the new Life is Strange game. If you know me by now, you know that I'm obsessed with that. I don't know actually how much I've said about that on the podcast. It's funny now that I think about it. We haven't done the podcast since the last Life is Strange game came out, so I might not mention it. But if you played it, let me know. I'm more than obsessed with those games. So there you go.
Okay.
Hi, sir.
Okay, here's the deal, kid.
Okay, what's the deal?
I was feeling really nostalgic and was like, gosh, what could I get that would make me very happy young man?
Okay.
And so I went on eBay and was like, screw it. I'm getting a PlayStation 2. And I bought a PlayStation 2 and I got this is Simpsons Hit and Run that I'm currently holding up. It came with Pirates of the Caribbean. Whatever this car game is. Hitman 2 that I'm not very good at, but I gave it a go yesterday. Shrek 2, just for fun.
Of course you got Shrek 2.
And this James Bond game that I had as a kid, and it's awesome.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I got a PlayStation 2. That's the news. And I've ordered Doctor Who Top Trumps, so I think I might do some kind of video. Oh my gosh,
no way.
Yeah, some kind of video with that. I don't really know how to play it. Can you beat Top Trumps?
Yeah, there's the thing that I think I remember there was a campaign, I think.
Maybe I'll do that. I'll be like,
as much of a campaign as there can be in a Top Trumps video game.
I'll do a whole series on me mastering that game, even though I have no idea what it is.
I'm so up for that. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I'm excited. Am I gonna have to tell you how to like screen record games and stuff now? Like, how's that gonna work?
I've got a thing that allows me to screen record it, I think.
Oh, he's got a thing. He's got a thing, folks.
He's got a thing. I'll show it to you
choices
later.
are wild, though. Can I ask, if it's okay, how much did it cost you to get a PS2 with those games? I'm just intrigued for what they go for now.
It was $100. $100.
So £50 for a PS2 with all those games?
Yeah.
Wow. And,
well,
just
it didn't come with the James Bond one and the Simpsons Hit and Run one.
Oh, well, in that case, you got robbed.
Yeah.
Heavy sarcasm. Can I just point out, it cost me the same amount of money to buy the new Life is Strange game. That's all it cost me, £50. And you got a console and a bunch of games. Granted, an old console, but still. That's,
it is the best-selling console of all time. Did you know that?
And the first console I ever had as a kid. Shout out my mum for buying it me. Christmas 2005.
I remember, like, I bought mine when I was a young little lad. I had the silver slim one, and I connected it up to the TV, and my mum was like, "Oh my gosh, you're so smart," because I didn't look at an instruction manual. And then my mum just couldn't understand, like, how did you connect that to the TV? I'm like, it's very simple.
The red, the white, and the yellow wires, popping them in place, and being like,
simple,
that's how it goes. And you pull the lever, it's alive!
It's alive, yeah.
Oh my god.
So a bit of nostalgia, so I've been playing a bit of that.
There are so many games I could recommend you. In fact, I don't even know if this is a really popular one. I'm going to give you one recommendation, and if there is even one person out there that's played this game, I will love you forever. Don't get parasocial, but I will love you forever. Monster Lab. Look that up for PS2. One of the last games my mum ever bought me. You basically just get to build parts of monsters, put them together, make monsters, and fight them. And it was just like the most addictive, amazing thing. I absolutely adored it. So definitely pick that up.
Okay.
Really, really fun. Okay. Anyway, on to our topic of the Doctor Who podcast, sir.
All right. Oh, what? Huh? We have a podcast?
Blimey. The segues used to be my thing. I love that I've slowly turned you into me with the segues at the start of episodes. It's beautiful. I love it. We're two alike. And you know what?
It needed to happen.
That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. You know, and like I said, very soon I'll show off, I'll talk about cool things in Cardiff next week. Like this. Look at this, Crispy. Where am I here in this photo? Can you guess?
Torchwood.
Yeah, and I'm even wearing a very particular coat. But more of that next week. Find out. Next time. We have actually some proper interesting news to talk about. At least I think it's interesting. I suggested this to you, and I was like, I think we should talk about this. So, Crispy, can you be our newsman? Can you introduce the topic of today's episode? What happened? Why are we discussing it?
Okay, well, look. Listen here, folks. This is wild, unprecedented times. Are you familiar with the actor Ncuti Gatwa?
Vaguely, yeah. I think I've seen him in Doctor Who.
Yes. Well, he's in Doctor Who in a so-called Sexual Education, I believe is the name of it. So Ncuti Gatwa was on the Graham Norton Show a few Thursdays ago, and he delivered what would appear to be some good news for Doctor Who. I've got a quote here. Do you want me to read that quote, Troy?
I would love you to read that quote. Lay it on me, sir.
He said, referring to Doctor Who, said, "We did the second series this year. The Christmas special is coming up, and we are filming the third series next year." But then, when this Graham Norton show went to air, it seemed that line about I think that entire line, actually, seemingly had disappeared. Cut. Never having existed. Leading to a lot of people being like, oh, is Doctor Who going to what's going on? Are we getting a third series? And so now it's just sparked a lot of debate, being like, is Doctor Who season 3 happening? That's where we're at. That's where we're at.
That's what we've asked you. Are you worried about season 3? Do you think it's a worrying fact that we haven't had a confirmed renewal yet? We'll talk a bit more about whether it should or shouldn't have been renewed as we go through the episode. But why don't we start with taking the caller?
Okay. Hello, Vincent.
Hey guys, Vincent here from Troy's Cupboard. So I think Disney is going to be greenlit season 3 after season 2 is aired. Because it will be really weird if they cancel the whole deal after they see the whole spin-off. So there is season 1, season 2, and there's a spin-off, and then they cancel the whole show. So yeah, I think season 3 it's promised. Yeah, we just have to wait. We are Sutek. We are the one who waits. So yeah.
We are the one who waits.
We are the ones who wait. We are the ones who wait. I love that I was so confident because every time he opens his call, it's "Hi guys, Vincent here from Hungary," that I went to mouth it, and instead he said "from Troy's cupboard." Fella, there's too much of a mess on my floor right now. I can't get into that cupboard. So if you can get out of it, that's saying something. That's saying something. So well done to you.
Wow.
One thing I will say, I don't think we have to worry about the show being cancelled altogether. I think it's more so the the consistency and the reliability of this Disney Plus deal. You know, whether we'll have to just go back to BBC, Sony, not even Sony, but BBC Bad Wolf budget without Disney's involvement. But yeah, we don't know. And it has been suggested. I mean, there have been conflicting reports that Russell has said different things at different times, but the vibe he's been giving in Doctor Who magazine over the most recent periods of time is that Disney are waiting on the second season to air and to be received before they confirm a season 3. Crispy, why is that a concerning idea if that's the case?
Oh, just because we're impatient Doctor Who fans, and that would imply that 2026 is going to be yet another gap year, one of the infamous gap years that we have. And
we're not going to go backpacking in the process.
No, we're not having a fun gap year. We're not doing a Euro gap year. We're not doing an Asia gap year. We're doing just to sit at home with no Doctor Who gap year. That's what we're doing. Even though my, one of my fave writers, RTE, said, you know what, when I'm taking control of this ship, we're not doing gap years. We're having yearly Doctor Who. Does that technically mean I can already see it in Doctor Who magazine? He'd be like, I remember promising back in 2021 or whatever it was that there would be yearly Doctor Who, and I guess technically in 2026 you will have the spin-off show, so I wasn't lying. I can imagine that's what Russell's going to say. But we'll see.
So you think he's going to Alec Guinness, so what I told you was true from a certain point of view, the audience?
Correct. Absolutely.
Oh, dear.
Correct.
Oh, dear. It took us 12 minutes for a Star Wars reference, ladies and gentlemen. 12 minutes. Round of applause for me.
Not bad. Not bad. But yeah, that's where I think this is headed. This is absolutely where I think this is headed. But let's see what GDS has to say. Hello, GDS Studios.
Is Doctor Who coming back for season 3? Obviously, it's Doctor Who, and I say it's coming back. But also, it is like the BBC's flagship show still after all these years. Even if Disney decide to cut some funding, the BBC is still putting it out regardless. Also, Russell is an absolute mad lad. He's probably already got script ideas, or I don't exactly know where I've heard this, but I think he has even written some first drafts for episodes already. So it is always coming back.
What was that thing? I swear that I saw something recently where he was talking about. Oh no, he's talking about season 2, I think, actually, in Doctor Who magazine.
If you're going to say that he would have written something for season 4, I read that too, and I think it was in Doctor Who magazine. I think he said he'd already had a couple of ideas as to where a 4th season would go.
Yeah. So I
think he's already got a lot. I don't want to stretch it too far in case I'm wrong, but I'm under the impression, based on what I think / have heard, that he's written most of, if not all of, season 3 anyway, and that would be a good idea to have those things ready, because as soon as they get the green light, they can go straight to filming. It could well be they have the filming block set up, and that's why Ncuti made the comment of, we're filming next year, and as long as they get the green light and they know what they're working with, they can go straight in and hit the ground running. Because the thing is, especially if as Ncuti said, I don't remember the filming date specifically, but if they filmed the second season this year, and it's going out next year, there's no, it's not impossible that they could film it early next year and get it out the year after. It's not impossible. There was one leak from Disney Plus a couple of months ago that suggested that the next season Doctor Who would be earlier in 2025 anyway. So if it does air earlier, we get a decision earlier, we start filming earlier, and then we get the next season the year after. Maybe not the same time frame, maybe more like this year's in May. But it could be swung round. Because do we know when War Between the Land and the Sea is coming? Is that late next year, right? That's in between anyway.
I've got. I think
so.
I think it is supposed to be next year, but you know how things can get changed and swapped around. But yeah, I completely agree. I think talk on the street is that even with season 1, they intended to air it earlier in the year. They intended to air it very soon after the Christmas special, which might have been a good thing. We'll see. But. We'll have to see what happens. I'm just looking up, when did series 8 of Doctor Who start filming, because I feel like they started pretty late and they were able to get it out. Yeah,
and actually, fun fact, what? Oh, go on.
Oh, I just found it. The 6th of January 2014, and that was the same year that the series came out. Can you believe?
Did it come out start airing in July? I know it ended in September.
I think it was end of August, because I met the man around that time. But whatever, we don't have to talk about that. We don't have to talk about that.
Well, I was going to say, since I met the man who wrote The Man, Stephen Moffat, just a little fun fact for you, because you mentioned about, falling on from Christmas. I found something out that I didn't know originally, that they did plan to air, like, his original hope with Season 7, when they was Series 7, when they split up between the Ponds and Clara. He hoped that they'd carry on into Series 7 in January, right after The Snowman aired, and it didn't work out that way.
Oh,
and
wow.
he said he felt Season 7 suffered for that reason. He said he didn't think the mid-season gap made Season 6 suffer, but he thinks Season 7 did suffer because of the gap.
Wow. That would have been interesting.
Isn't
that
it interesting?
That would have been really cool, though. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look, I'm grateful for that gap because there was all that speculation with Clara. That's kind of like, that was like such a big cliffhanger that I think kind of... But, yeah, I mean... I can see why he would have been eager to have that earlier. That's such a fun fact. That's such a fun fact.
Find out more about that next week. Why is this just a promo for next week's episode?
I mean, you can chat. You can chat about it. I don't mind. I too tried to ask a Doctor Who related question to a celebrity on Saturday, but it didn't work out because my question didn't get read. I was in the same room as one of Spyfall Part 1's best guest appearances, Stephen Fry. I went to an evening with Stephen Fry with my parents, and there were like maybe 4,000 of us in the room. And he had like a QR code where you could send questions to him, and one of them was...
It wasn't a QI code.
No, god damn it, he's good.
Thank you.
That's really good.
Thanks.
He had a QR code. Or as he liked to call it, a Queensland Rocks code. And I know. And
what a funky guy.
And I asked him, "Oh, hey, I heard you wrote a script for Doctor Who in 2006. What was the plot of that?" But it never got read out. But it's just such a really insightful guy. But I thought I was going to get the scoop. But it sounds like Troy's got the scoop.
Yeah, 2 scoops of vanilla with some chocolate on top.
Yum. Delicious.
So, okay. I mean, yeah, we talked a little bit, obviously, as you said, about Russell talking about the yearly Doctor Who, and he originally promised that as a counterbalance for him saying it was going to be 8-episode seasons. He was like, I know 8-episode seasons is, a downside. I know you're not going to be happy with that, but that's the trade-off we're going to get for yearly Doctor Who. That's what he said. Now, obviously, yearly Doctor Who doesn't mean same time every year. It could be nudged around. Obviously, if you do that, you then run the risk of having a Series 11 to Series 12, because there weren't technically 2 years between Series 11 and Series 12, but they did air with a year in between, because Series 11 ended, September, October-ish 2018, and then Series 12 kicked off January 2020. So 2019 was, by that very logic, gap year. Even if it wasn't a 2-year gap, it was still more than a year. So... you could have that. That's what I think is probably the most likely thing, depending on how quickly they can turn around the filming. If that Disney Plus leak is true, which, I think I can't remember if there was anything else that proved the validity of it, but assuming it is, and the season does air earlier in next year, based on that, they then have a bit of extra playing field, or extra space, because the series will air, Disney will make its decision, they can get filming, and I imagine that's why, like I said, Ncuti said they've got filming plans, because they probably have to say to Ncuti ahead of time, here's when we're thinking of filming, so he can book it in and know what he's doing. He's a busy man.
Yeah.
He's a Ken.
More in demand than ever.
He's going to know about the importance of being earnest very soon, That's a very important thing to be aware of, because he's doing that play. So he's got that too. He's got to book these things in. So my thinking is they're assuming Disney's going to renew it, because the latest thing is supposedly they're happy with it. But I mean, we hear things in every direction every week, because Doctor Who community is the Doctor Who community. And I think, even if it ends up being a bit of a rush job, they won't get it out the same time next year. Maybe it'll still be like May, June, like this season was. I'm not personally worried right now. At the end of the day, I think we're going to get another season, whatever happens, Disney or not. But I think people worrying about the Disney deal, probably a bit too premature. I know season 1 wasn't perfect for everyone, but I don't know about you. I keep looking back on it and seeing clips and thinking there was some really good stuff there. We like to Doom, everyone likes to Doom post about it, but
it's so much fun. Dude, season 1, but it's just I don't think it was the slam dunk all of us expected with Russell's return,
especially if you're a Space Babies hater like you.
Yeah, number 1 right here. Number 1
Space Babies hater.
Someone commented about Space Babies recently. I can't remember what they said. They directed it at you. I can't remember. I swear I saw something. Anyway, Just leaving
YouTube comments.
just leaving that. And I also, as I was struggling to get to sleep last night, I just looked onto Reddit and typed up Doctor Who podcasts, and we're in a lot of the comments, my boy. People are recommending us. It's very nice.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people are asking, any Doctor Who, recommendations. They're like, if you're... One was like, if you're an older Doctor Who fan, then Radio Free Skaro is where it's at. Or if you're a youngster and want something dumb, then go and listen to Who's There.
I can't be mad because that does sum it up.
It's us. It's us.
Me and my hyperfixations alone is enough to justify that. That's totally fair. That is totally fair.
But yeah,
okay.
hey.
I'm just looking to see where the comment is.
I don't know. I can't remember. I swear I saw it last night, but maybe I dreamt it. Speaking of fun Doctor Who fans that are nice to us, let's listen to another call. Hello, Brad.
Given their financial problems, I have no confidence that Disney will continue to invest in Doctor Who and may well pull the plug on Season 3. At the same time, I'm not convinced that would necessarily be a bad thing. I'm sure the show will continue on regardless, even if on a much smaller budget. And if that meant the focus shifted from gimmicky special effects, like making babies talk, and back to just telling good stories, I'd be very happy. Thanks.
Maybe it was Brad. Maybe it was Brad that I imagined talking.
Maybe it was.
Nonsense.
Interesting. So, even despite what Brad says, he still thinks, we're going to get another series, whatever happens. But here's an interesting thing that I meant to bring up when we talked about the Disney leak. I believe they had valuations about the value of each season and how much involvement was coming. And I think they noted that Doctor Who was a low budget investment or a lower tier one, which, considering the money they put into things like the Marvel shows or Star Wars shows, is not a surprise, And I assume that's possibly part of the reason as to why they cancelled The Acolyte, which, don't get me started on that. But that was a $350 million season or something. It was ridiculous. They did not need to spend that much money on it.
Oh my gosh. Really?
And so that's probably a big part. They were like, no one likes this show, or the numbers fell off and they're not going to come back. And obviously on a streaming site, they won't build up over time. That's definitely not how streaming works. Sorry, I'm going down that road. I'm very annoyed it got cancelled. Let's not go there. But point being, because it didn't perform very well, they immediately thought, we can't invest the same amount of money again, we'll pull the plug. Doctor Who, if it isn't some amazing, exponential, fantastic, blow your socks off performance, does it matter as much to Disney as long as it's bringing in a decent to solid viewing to justify its existence if it's not a high budget investment for them? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not something they'll immediately jump to cut the cord from if they're not putting tons of money into it to begin with. Because
I just want to know.
Lunch money for Disney is probably you've won the postcode lottery for the BBC. Comparing those amounts, Disney give them a little bit of pocket money and suddenly we got a Goblin King in our show. So, it might not be as big of a risk for them as, on our end it might appear it to be. So I don't know. It's interesting.
I would just love. I want to know these stats. I want to know how much they're investing. I want to know, what the deal is. I want to know what the viewership was like. I'm surprised we haven't figured that out yet, as to how many people have watched on Disney Plus, because maybe that's really telling. Maybe that's really telling stuff, but I feel like it wouldn't be too bad. It can't
Imagine that like Spotify. Every time you click on a new song, it shows you how many times it's been streamed. You go on Doctor Who, it's this has been streamed 500 times or 5 million times or whatever.
That'd be wild. That would be wild.
Yeah, I think it would just give people more reasons to argue, and then things like The Acolyte would be even more toxic than they already are.
Yes,
It's a mess.
yes, absolutely.
Man,
but I swear that there's usually somewhere you can see if... I can't remember what it was, but I swear I used to be able to see Disney Plus figures. Anyway, I don't know.
Some figures do get shared. I'm not entirely sure how they get out, because you've seen comments about things like Loki doing bringing in a million viewers or whatever it might be. Some of them do get released, but I don't know how what avenues they're released via. I just suddenly see them in my feed and I'm like, oh, okay, viewing figures for this. But
unless
maybe it seems like
Marvel
Disney pick and choose what they share.
Something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Hey, what on earth? Let's listen to this one. Hello, Atticus. How are you?
What I reckon is that they're just not. They're definitely going to renew it in my brain, but every old Doctor Who fan goes, they're not going to do it after every Doctor. Capaldi, Whittaker, Gatwa, everyone's saying it, and it sucks because they have PTSD over the 1990s hiatus. Anyway, Oh, and yes, Crispy, I do live in the same time zone as you. Look behind you.
Oh. That's Atticus.
the Cyberman head.
Atticus is my Cyberman head, yeah. I just clicked on that because it said it was recorded in Crispy's Closet Edition, which I find weird that we had 2 comments in 2 callers this week about our various listeners in our
Mate,
various
our listeners are getting too parasocial. We need to talk about boundaries, guys. Okay, there are do's and don'ts. Be very careful here. Okay, we are just normal men in our normal bedrooms. We're
just normal
guest
men.
rooms for Crispy. I like Crispy's guest room, and it looks so cool. I want to stay at your house just to sleep in that guest room.
Thanks, man. It's pretty
Can I come
cool.
over? Can you pay for my flights, please? Thanks.
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay, well,
not
but no,
in the
Atticus
slightest.
does bring up a point that I was going to bring up anyway, which is that every year Doctor Who's going to get cancelled. Doctor Who's an inch away from being cancelled, guys. Doctor Who is dead. Rip Doctor Who. Doctor Who died when this person left. It's like, it's 10 a penny, like if I had £1 for every time I saw a comment about Doctor Who being about to be cancelled, I'd already be next to Crispy right now recording this with him. Those plane tickets would be, again, lunch money. They'd be Disney lunch money for me. Like, they're 10 a penny. They're everywhere. So, like, the whole thing, like, the Doctor Who Twitter community in and of itself is a very toxic thing anyway. Like the most extreme opinions are the ones that get flung out there. I mean, we've just agreed now, we put a call out for it. The next episode is going to be talking about the best Doctor companion duo. And, like, even that in and of itself is an interesting topic because it stemmed from someone making a tweet over the weekend of a clip from Empire of Death, the final clip between Gatwa and Gibson, which I've said to you is easily, probably my favourite scene in the whole series. I absolutely love it. Even if that goodbye could have had a bit more weight from, like, more episodes and more scenes between them, whatever.
Yeah.
The way that was done was fantastic. They shared that clip and said that they think Gatwa and Gibson are the best Doctor companion duo. And it lit a fire under some people's backsides that you've never seen before. Like, he got so much verbal abuse, people calling him slurs, all sorts of stuff I've seen on there. It's
no, I didn't
ridiculous,
see that. I didn't see that. I just saw that
the
it had a lot
Doctor
of
community
likes.
is ridiculous, like, genuinely. And this is just days after we've both seen, and for those of you who need the context, there's been someone who's been doing Doctor Who kind of like watch-along reports almost, called Gigi, who got into Doctor Who because they were a Matt Smith fan. From House of the Dragon, or she, I think I can say she was a fan of Matt Smith from House of the Dragon, so she went, I'm going to watch Doctor Who Series 5 so I can see what Matt Smith's like. She's been doing this for like 8 series, it's put a whole load of love in the franchise. Stephen Moffat and Matt Smith both knew about her watching, it's been lovely. She's just said she stopped because she's getting more and more hate comments thrown at her opinions and comments and episodes. Like, the Doctor Who community, like, as much as we love, like, the people who watch our episodes, you guys are all lovely, there are plenty of lovely people out there. Every community, I feel like, has these toxic people, and as a result, these very extreme polar end views come out, and you get these people saying every single decision that's been made, whether it's the length of a nose hair on Ncuti Gatwa, or whether it's the length of a plunge arm on a Dalek, is suddenly enough to be tantamount to the show's going to get cancelled because they don't care anymore. Like, that is in the air, and it's often for the most stupid reasons. When realistically, if we just sit back and relax, Doctor Who's not going to get cancelled. Like, surely not.
No.
And if it does, well, you know what? We'll keep living. It'll be sad. But that's life, baby. But I genuinely don't think it's something to be worried about.
Be for the podcast.
Oh yeah, we'd be screwed. But I'd pull you in for something else. We'd do some other podcast. We'd figure it out.
Something.
We'd figure it out.
Well, no,
you can't get rid of me that easily, fella.
We could keep Who's There alive. That'd be the prophecy. With, like,
Who's there?
Who's
not
there?
Doctor Who anymore.
Yeah, it's gone. It's out of here.
Anyway, all of that aside, TED Talk aside, the point being is there is this lingering fear in the air at all times the show's going to get cancelled. That's no more true now than it was true when Jodie Whittaker did her first series, or when Peter Capaldi was brought on and everyone was like, he's too old. Like,
or even when Matt Smith was brought on and everyone was like, the show's not going to survive past Tennant.
He's too young.
Yeah. It's all
I still
ridiculous.
have that quote of him in my head that was like, there was a backlash when I got cast. I was 26 and unknown, and everyone was like, that's not Doctor Who. I don't know why that's in my brain. I'm like with quotes, but like, yeah, as far back as Matt Smith.
Yeah.
There were even people with David Tennant, like, who's this guy taking over Christopher Eccleston?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. That people will find a reason to say the show will get cancelled at any point. So I don't personally think just because season 1 maybe didn't land as well with some people as it should have done. You know, we've talked, our biggest issue was that lack of consistency tone-wise and like an overarching theme. Some good ideas that didn't mesh well together, whatever. Whether that's your problem, whether you think that it opened terribly with space babies, as incorrect people like you would think, or whether you think the Empire of Death was just like a terrible finale that didn't live up to the hype, whatever it may be.
Oh, just should have stuck the landing, and then we would all be like, oh, the show's okay.
Absolutely. But it's not tantamount to be thinking the show's going to get cancelled. I think that's ridiculous. Crispy, I've soaked up a lot of air. Would you like to do some speaking instead?
Oh, well, you mentioned the Acolyte before, and I'm pretty sure that this caller does as well. So let's listen to the Doctor Master, shall we? Hello.
Let's do it.
No, I think that Disney have a really, and streaming services in general have a really bad track record of, cancelling series all of a sudden. And I think because I'm not into these shows massively, but I heard that they cancelled The Acolyte, didn't they? Which is a really popular show. So I don't think so, and so that's going to be a bit confusing because I don't know if they're going to just continue or have a clean break and a fresh start from Disney and continue with Ncuti, nothing's changed or what. But
yeah, we'll see. I don't think we've said it before. Even if Disney pull the plug on Doctor Who, that doesn't mean that the show is over. It'll get picked up by someone else. Are you crying over the Acolyte?
Yeah.
Can I read out a bunch of Disney Plus shows that were cancelled and 2 seasons are left? Can I do that for you?
Oh no. Do you know what I said about finding reasons to think the show's going to get cancelled? We're creating one here. But yes,
I know.
go on.
Let's create some fear. Of course, we've got the Acolyte.
I did not agree with that part. That is, the views of Crispy do not reflect the views of Troy Red Archer Live. Continue, sir.
Did you ever watch a show called Renegade Nell?
Nope.
I saw that advertised everywhere. I didn't realise it was cancelled. The Right Stuff? I don't know these shows. Willow? You know Willow?
Willow was atrocious because they didn't just cancel it, they took it off the streaming site, which I thought was ridiculous.
Scary. Buy physical media, folks. Do that.
Yeah.
Do that because it's a scary time where Disney Plus can be like, oh yeah, this never existed. So it's just not on Disney Plus at all now.
No.
What? And you can't
Unless
do anything?
Unless they brought it back, but I don't think they did. They cancelled it then not long after it was taken off, which was just ridiculous.
That's so weird.
They did that with Jodie Whittaker's show she did in Australia, that one night that was on Paramount. They took that off Paramount.
What? Oh, this is... Oh, I hate this. This needs to not happen to Doctor Who.
Maybe I didn't mention it on the podcast. I thought I might have done, but I might not have done. I did see a picture somewhere that it was coming to Netflix. I don't know if that's in Australia or in a particular territory, but it is coming back somewhere. So at least there's
Netflix
that.
has it. I feel like the UK and Australia, we usually kind of live in the same ecosystem when it comes to rights for.
It's only because of us.
Netflix.
They've streamlined it because of you and me, so we can talk about things together.
They've seen it. They're listening in right now. All the AI.
They listen to our dumb podcast.
What else do we know? The Muppets Mayhem. The Muppets had a TV show that's no longer on Disney Plus.
But are these shows that were produced by Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Okay.
National Treasure, like the Disney Plus original TV show based on the Nicolas Cage movies, is all gone. And that's all the interesting ones in the article anyway.
I was going to say, don't mention How I Met Your Father, because I will get very sad.
What I think there's a popular store here called JB Hi-Fi, and I don't know if if they've stopped doing. I think they've stopped doing physical media almost. They have a bunch of stuff, but I feel like DVDs and Blu-rays and all of that is not really their concern. I think that they've stopped Doctor Who, and that was my main source of physical media Doctor Who. So it's a bit of an icky time, and now it's Ncuti season. I haven't seen a DVD for Ncuti season in person. I haven't seen it IRL.
Blimey.
So that's concerning me.
Yeah, I don't love that. I mean, there was a part of me, because I'm a big steelbook collector, when I can afford them. As these days now, I got charged for the Deadpool and Wolverine one, and I looked at my bank and went, oh my god, I've got no money, what happened? Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's the problem with pre-ordering these things. But, I do like collecting those steelbooks, and I kind of... When they started putting out the Marvel TV shows, the Disney Plus ones on steelbooks, I kind of had to have this, internal moment of, is this something I want to invest in? I've got the films on steelbook, do I want to be buying this shows? And I decided against it. But I do have that fear in the back of my head. What if they take... I mean, the chance of them taking a Marvel show down are pretty slim. But there is this argument of, buy physical content. You never know what will happen down the line. And so I'm kind of like, maybe I should be getting these steelbooks or at least getting the physical versions of these shows. Because what happens if they do pull the plug? There's nothing to stop them. If they own it, then the decisions end with them as well.
Yeah. I completely...
Scary stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree, guys. Physical media is where it's at. Because when stuff hits the fan or the worldwide internet gets turned off, you won't be able to watch your beloved shows, listen to your beloved music. You won't have anything.
Oh God! No! I need my Spotify Wrapped.
It's all gone. It's all gone.
Oh, I need to find out that my artist of the year, by the way, I'm telling you now, is going to end up being the composer of Baldur's Gate 3's soundtrack. Like, I've been looking at some of my stats, some stat
That's
apps.
awesome.
I'm like, no, it kind of is, because that soundtrack is phenomenal, and the dude is a lovely guy. He's such a nice dude. I've seen him do an acceptance speech to it, like when he won a BAFTA award for the soundtrack. He's a lovely guy. But this was finally going to be the year that Pale Waves was my artist of the year. But they just, even with the new album that I've listened to so many times, they've not caught up to him, and I don't know when Spotify Wrapped is cutting off. I know it's not Halloween, and again this year we're like, it's not cutting off on Halloween. Should just end at the end of December, so it's actually a Wrapped of the year, but that's for another time. But yeah, like that's going to be hilarious. But no, so the point being, going back to the physical thing, I feel like, but like the physical media is a concern, and I think really the biggest concern people should have with, will we get a season 3 or not? The biggest issue is what happens to the online distribution. Like, my biggest hope that the Disney deal continues is not just for that visual presentation, but also because Disney Plus gives people worldwide, or in nearly every country, an opportunity to see Doctor Who when it comes out with everyone else and stop this randomness of which country gets which series when. Because I seem to remember when we got the Disney deal first announced, the people saying that they hadn't even had season 12 in particular countries. Can't remember where or who said it. It's been a year or two now, but I know that was a thing we heard several times, people in different territories, that certain series had never even made it to their doorstep.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's changed since. But
I think that's
my
has.
concern. I love that we can all see it together. And if the Disney deal gets pulled, the budget will suffer, but Doctor Who's been fine without that before. It's that distribution. I think that was probably the biggest draw for Russell and the Bad Wolf team as well, is that, we can finally actually unite people across the planet and all watching Doctor Who. So that's my biggest concern about it personally.
No, that was a massive win for Disney. Hey, that worldwide distribution. But now you got me thinking, being like, let's imagine here that Disney are like, hey, we had a great 2 series run. The show's not for us. What happens to those 2 series? Because I don't like, they're both now Disney properties. So I just can't imagine seeing like those 2 Ncuti Gatwa seasons ending up on Stan here in Australia, which is like where Doctor Who is currently. I simply can't imagine that, because it's a Disney property. I can't see that happening, being like, oh yeah, we'll chuck it at the end of Whittaker's run, because they've called it season 1 and season 2. It's so confusing. That's so confusing to me.
I think it would be, as I've seen this happen before, like certain shows having certain licensing agreements. What you might find is that, like, Disney, maybe if this happens, they might have had some agreement where they have exclusivity to put the show out for a certain period of time. And, like, even if they take it down, they have the only rights to distribute that show for a certain number of years in international territory. So say, like, a 5-year deal. This is me making stuff up for an example, folks. Don't take this as gospel. But say, for argument, they say that. And so from 2023 onwards, the 60th anniversaries could not be shown on any other platform until, for example, 2028. It might be something like that. That would be my thinking. They have, like, a clause that, like, says they have exclusive rights for a certain amount of time, even if they take it off. The thing is, like, the reason I would stick my neck out slightly here as to say they wouldn't take it off Disney Plus is because it seems like they tend to do that when it's more of like a tax write-off. It makes more sense for us to have this off the platform than on it, and that's often done quite soon after. Willow had not long ended. I think it hadn't even been 6 months and it was gone. The Acolyte, I mean, it was a concern for a little bit that I thought they were going to take it off, because when they cancelled the show, within a week, all merch was wiped off the Disney store, which was insane. It was gone. It was like they were trying to pretend it never happened, which was ridiculous.
It's weird.
But they haven't taken the show off, and I hope, fingers crossed, that continues, because, in case you hadn't already gathered, I thought The Acolyte was pretty good. It's not like the best Star Wars ever, but nothing has to, not everything can always be the best Star Wars ever, and for goodness sake, give shows a chance to breathe and build, for goodness sake, man. But whatever. Point being, like, I'm hoping that they've not taken down on it. It'll stay that way. Maybe because Star Wars is like a big flagship thing, and if they take that down, it'll cause them more harm than good. But they just kind of push it to the corner and pretend it doesn't happen. But with Doctor Who, I think obviously you have to wait to see what happens when season 2 comes out. But if it is critically panned, maybe they'll do something then. But this is all fear-mongering, and I genuinely believe in my heart of hearts that it's not something to worry about. Just because Ncuti said, like, comment got deleted, to bring it all home, to sum it all up, I think it genuinely is as simple as Russell said, they're waiting for season 2 to air for Disney to comment on season 3. And I don't think it's our position to worry much beyond that as to the future of Doctor and Disney Plus, because if at the end of the day, as our callers have said, if Disney really do decide to pull the plug, putting any concerns of distribution aside, because obviously that is an issue, Doctor Who will continue no matter what. Like, the BBC will not drop it because Disney said, hey, the mouse isn't interested. Yeah. Doctor Who may not survive forever, but I don't see BBC going, well, Disney gave up, so we might as well. I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening at all.
Series 3 will happen. Season 3 will happen. But will it happen with Disney or without? My bet, if you ask me to really decide now, like, gun to my head, I think Disney will continue with it. I don't think there's been enough of, like, it's not like the show performed badly from everything we've seen, from everything we've heard, basically. It's just that the critical reception and fan response to some of the episodes has not been as good. Let's see what season 2 does, go from there, and just enjoy some good blooming Doctor Who. Let's focus on that.
Yeah, well said.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
No, appreciate that. You're right. Season 3 will be here in one way or another. We just don't know what that looks like yet. You're absolutely correct.
More Ncuti, more 15's theme, more click remote from click, sonic screwdriver action, some good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, wow. Okay, well that's it. We did it. We did a podcast.
We did it. We did a podcast. It took us a while, but we finally got it done.
Wow.
We finally got it done.
I can't believe it.
We're definitely not like 134 episodes in. Why is it's becoming a feature almost every week now where I have to check the number of the episode because I've lost track. Yeah, 134. Cool. We're old, Crispy. I'm an old man, Doctor. I've had my time.
Yeah, we
what
are
episode's
old.
That from?
The Lodger.
No. I'm an old man, Doctor. I've had my time. You get one proper guess that's not the Lodger.
Oh man, my brain's not working.
That's exactly why I've asked you.
I'm an old man, Doctor. I've had my time. Is Wilf saying that?
He is indeed. So what episode would it be in?
I don't know. The End of Time.
Which one?
Part 2.
Bingo. There you go. Way, well done, Crispy.
Hey.
Well, exactly. Look at you. Not remotely important. But me?
I could be so much more.
So much more!
And if you want
this is what I
so
get.
much more, go and check out the Patreon.
If you want so much more of this podcast, then go to patreon.com/Who'sADW to get early access to episodes and to call in monthly in an exclusive live episode where your calls are the only ones that get submitted. I know.
Whoa.
Isn't it cool to have money? That is a joke, seriously. Just watching and listening is enough for us. But if you do want to support us, feel free to head over there. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out. We greatly appreciate it. Crispy, closing comments. Lay them on me, sir.
Doctor Who is going to get cancelled.
And on that note, thank you very much for watching this episode of Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast. Obviously, like we've said, it's interesting to debate. Don't get me wrong, that's why we have this blooming podcast. But I don't think either of us think it's really a worthy concern right now. Just because he got cut from Graham Norton,
come on, guys.
It's fine. It's fine. Maybe Graham Norton went in the editing room and accidentally sat on the delete key, and the clip was gone.
Maybe.
And we're all panicking from there.
Maybe. It would probably honestly was Disney BBC being like, well, I guess we haven't actually confirmed that, and there's a lot of meetings that need to take place behind the scenes.
A lot of red tape.
Let's just get rid of that. It's probably way less malicious or concerning than we need it to be. It's
absolutely.
It just feels weird for the people that were in the audience being like, hey, and they oh.
Did you hear what Ncuti Gatwa said about season 3?
Yeah.
No, because I was in the room and you weren't, and therefore you wouldn't know if you weren't in the room. So there you go. No,
exactly.
Weird. But yeah. There you go, folks. There's our thoughts on the future of Doctor Who in Season 3 and why everyone should just chill. And also, as my little side note on Twitter, stop being nasty to people when they're watching Doctor Who and commenting on things.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Just be a nice person. Like, it's genuinely, it's in every community. You know, I mentioned a little bit about Life is Strange today, but the Life is Strange Twitter community is just so incredibly at each other's throats. It's ridiculous. There are some valid concerns with the new game, but man, people are pushing it way too far. Like, every community has got so much toxicity now, and it sucks. Like, the internet is just a lot of hate, more than it ever used to be, and I really do hate that about it, you know?
Except on this channel, so thank you. Please like, subscribe.
I'm not sure I hate you. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Who's There? A Doctor Who podcast. We'll be back next week, where, as I've hinted at, we will talk about the best Doctor companion duos. And remember, it's all opinions. Please don't get your knickers in a twist if we disagree with you, okay? That's very important. And if you haven't heard knickers, I am talking about underwear there. I want to make that clear. I think that's plainly obvious, but you know there'll be at least one person who went, what did he say? So, there you go. It's going to be an exciting one to talk about, though. I'm very keen to see people's thoughts on that, because I genuinely think like there's a good case to be made for Gatwa and Gibson, even if you've not had enough of them, because they're a really good pairing. But what's the best one? We'll find out and see what people say. You know, get your calls in, get your thoughts, and we'll debate it all. So until then, it's goodbye from Crispy.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye. See you all next week in episode 135 of Who's There? A Doctor Who podcast. How long Z, baby?
Hello, Z. Baby.
Beautiful. Roll credits. There aren't any credits. Roll logo.